think about your favorite brand. You
Mhm.
know, the one you just keep going back to year after year. Why is that? Is it like purely the product quality?
Probably not just that.
Or is there something deeper going on? Something about the whole experience?
It's almost certainly that deeper thing. It's about the value you perceive, how satisfied you feel, and, well, that loyalty. It goes beyond just the transaction itself.
Exactly. And that something deeper is what we're really digging into today. We're doing a deep dive. We're pulling apart the strategies companies use to build those, lasting relationships, looking at how they think about customer value, satisfaction, and basically what keeps you coming back.
Yeah, and for this dive, we're looking at some key bits from a core text on marketing management. Gives us the concepts they grapple with.
Right, the foundational stuff. So our mission, to pull out the most important insights from this. We want to help you see the kind of deliberate thinking behind why you love the brands you love.
And how much thought goes into making you feel valued.
Yeah. Get ready to look at your own experiences as a consumer, but maybe through a more strategic lens.
Okay, so where do we start? Well, there's this fundamental shift companies have had to make. Traditionally, organizations were like a pyramid.
Right, the classic org chart.
Yeah.
President at the top.
Exactly. President up top, management below, then frontline staff, and way down at the bottom, the customers.
That just seems backwards, doesn't it? The people you're serving are at the bottom.
It does seem disconnected, yeah. But the material highlights this really important modern shift, flipping that pyramid.
Upside down. So customers are now at the top.
Precisely. And right below them, the frontline employees, the folks who actually interact with you, the customer.
Okay.
Then below them is middle management, and their job is basically to support those frontline people.
Right. Empower them.
Yeah. And at the very bottom, supporting everyone else, is top management. Their focus is hiring and supporting good middle managers.
So in a company that really gets it, everyone, CEO down to the person answering emails, understands their job is to support that customer experience.
That's the ideal, definitely. It completely reorients the business. So, okay, how do customers make choices in the first place? It often comes down to this thing called customer perceived value, CPV.
CPV. What's the core idea there?
Basically, it's the difference between the total benefit a customer gets and the total cost they have to put in, what you feel you receive versus what you feel you give up.
Okay, let's break that down. Total customer benefit. What's in that basket?
It's way more than just the product doing its job. It's the whole package economic benefit, sure, but also functional and, importantly, psychological benefits.
Yeah.
Derived from the product, yeah, but also the services around it, the people you deal with, the brand's image.
So it's not just does the lawnmower cut grass, but how easy is it to use? How reliable is it? How do I feel pushing this brand of mower?
Exactly. Now, total customer cost. It's not just the price. The material uses this great quote from Adam Smith.
Oh, yeah?
The real price of anything is the toil and trouble of acquiring it.
I like that. It's the hidden costs, isn't it?
Yeah.
The time you spend researching, the energy driving to the store, maybe the stress, if it's hard to figure out, the friction.
All of that. And generally, customers try to be value maximizers. They'll usually choose the offer they think will give them the highest CPV.
So companies need to figure out what you value, what you see as a cost, and then deliver better on that whole equation than their competitors do.
That's the challenge, absolutely. The material gives a really good example. A buyer choosing between a Caterpillar and a Komatsu tractor.
Okay, big equipment.
Right. So the buyer looks at reliability, durability, performance. Those are product benefits. But they also look at the service network parts, availability, maintenance ease. That's service benefit.
And the people, sales reps, service techs.
Yep. Personnel benefit, and the brand image, Caterpillar's reputation for toughness. That all adds up on the benefit side.
And the cost of the price, obviously, but also maybe downtime waiting for parts, the hassle factor, the worry about a breakdown on a big job.
Exactly right. And Caterpillar often wins, the tech says, because their whole value delivery system is so strong. Huge dealer network, worldwide parts. It gives buyers confidence.
Reduces those non-monetary costs like worry and downtime risk.
Precisely. And that lets them command a higher price, maybe 10–20% more, because the overall perceived value is just seen as superior.
That makes sense. You pay more up front, but you might save on hassle and lost work later.
It often works out that way, although the text does note that sometimes buyers don't pick the highest CPV. Maybe their boss just says buy the cheapest, even if it costs more long
Or
term.
maybe they have a good relationship with the Komatsu dealer.
Could be, or other, personal factors. It's not always purely logical. Companies try to analyze this stuff systematically, though.
How so?
Well, they identify the key attributes customers care about, figure out how important each one is, assess their own performance, see how competitors stack up, and keep monitoring it all because things change.
Okay, so a customer chooses based on this value calculation. What makes them
Mhm.
stick around? That's loyalty, right?
Exactly. Loyalty. The material defines it as a deeply held commitment to rebuy or repatronize a preferred product or service in the future.
Despite situational influences and marketing efforts having the potential to cause switching behavior.
Right. Yeah. Despite everything trying to tempt you away, competitor ads, a sale somewhere else, a friend saying, try this other thing, you stick with your brand.
That's powerful. You see it with brands like Apple, Amazon, maybe even Cheerios or Ford, like the text mentioned. They've
Yeah.
built that stickiness.
They really have. Now, let's quickly clarify two terms that sound similar: value proposition and value delivery system.
Okay, proposition. Is that the promise?
Exactly. It's the bundle of benefits the company promises to deliver. Think Volvo promising safety plus performance, design, all that.
Got it. The promise.
And the value delivery system is how they actually deliver on that promise. It's the entire experience you have, all the touch points getting and using the thing.
And the gap between the promise and the reality.
Mm.
That's got to hit satisfaction levels hard.
Directly. Satisfaction is basically your feeling after comparing the actual performance you got against what you expected.
Fell short. Dissatisfied. Matched. Satisfied.
Exceeded, delighted, simple framework.
But there was something interesting about expectations,
Mm.
wasn't there? Like, it's not symmetrical.
Yes, exactly. The text highlights this asymmetric effect. Failing to meet your expectations actually hurts your satisfaction more than exceeding them helps.
Wow. So messing up is more damaging than surprising someone is beneficial.
Seems that way. The downside risk is bigger, so avoiding disappointment is maybe even more critical than constantly trying to wow everyone.
Okay. But companies aren't aiming for maximum satisfaction at any cost, right? They have a business to run.
Correct. They have to balance satisfying customers with being profitable and also satisfying other stakeholders, employees, suppliers, investors.
Can't give away the farm. Where do our expectations come from in the first place?
Oh, all over. Past experiences, what friends tell you, reviews you read online, ads you see, competitor claims. It's a mix.
So companies have to walk a line. Set expectations high enough to attract you, but not so high they can't deliver.
That's the balancing act. Kia is a good example mentioned. They came in with that really bold 10-year warranty.
Right, setting a high bar for reliability.
Yeah, a high expectation. But crucially, they backed it up with actual product quality. They delivered.
Okay, so companies need to constantly track satisfaction. Why is it such a critical metric?
Because it's a huge driver of customer retention. A highly satisfied customer is way more likely to stay loyal.
And they probably buy more.
They buy more over time, yeah. They spread positive word of mouth. They're less sensitive to price increases. They might even give you useful feedback or ideas.
And they're probably cheaper to serve because things just run smoother.
Often, yes. So satisfaction isn't just a nice to have. It directly impacts the bottom line.
But the link between satisfaction and loyalty,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just a straight line, is it?
No, it's not proportional. The material describes levels. Like level 1, very dissatisfied. They'll probably leave and tell everyone bad things.
Okay, avoid that.
Levels 2 to 4, they're satisfied, maybe even quite satisfied, but they could still switch pretty easily if a better offer comes along.
They're not locked in.
Right. But level 5, the highly satisfied or delighted customers, they are the truly loyal ones. They're very likely to repurchase, and they become advocates.
So it's that jump from just satisfied to highly satisfied or delighted that really makes the difference for loyalty.
Absolutely. Xerox found that completely satisfied customers were 6 times more likely to repurchase than those who were just very satisfied. That top level is gold.
How do companies actually measure this stuff? Surveys.
Yeah, surveys are common, asking about overall satisfaction, likelihood to buy again, likelihood to recommend.
Ah, that last one sounds familiar. Net Promoter Score.
Exactly. The text has a whole marketing insight section on NPS. It's based on that single question. On a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend this company product service to a friend or colleague?
And 9s and 10s are promoters.
Right. 7s and 8s are passives, kind of neutral, and 0 to 6 are detractors.
And the score is just promoters minus detractors, percentage-wise.
Yep. Promoters, detractors. Companies like Amex, Dell, Microsoft use it heavily. GE supposedly ties bonuses to it.
Wow.
And Intuit apparently improved TurboTax a lot by acting on NPS feedback about a clunky rebate process, turning data into action.
But the material mentions some criticisms, too. Like, it doesn't tell you why someone's a detractor.
Right. And a score could represent different mixes of the three groups. It doesn't directly link to revenue or costs, and it ignores people who aren't customers yet or who already left. It's useful, but not the whole picture.
So what else do they look at?
Things like competitor satisfaction scores, their own customer loss rate. Why are people leaving and using mystery shoppers?
Going undercover to test the experience.
Yeah, both their own stores and competitors get a real feel for it.
And the internet just magnifies everything, good or bad.
Totally. Bad experiences can go viral instantly. Remember those stories about United Airlines or Home Depot years ago? Customers have platforms now.
But good experiences get amplified, too. Companies promote high JD Power ratings and things like that.
They absolutely leverage positive feedback, and all this ties back to quality, doesn't it?
Yeah, how's quality defined here?
Broadly, it's about meeting or exceeding customer expectations. Fitness for use, conformance to requirements, things like that.
Okay.
The text makes a useful distinction between conformance quality, doesn't meet the specifications reliably, and performance quality, or grade what level of features and performance does it offer.
So a basic car and a luxury car can both have high conformance quality if they're built well and don't break down.
Exactly. But the luxury car has higher performance quality, more features, faster engine, whatever.
And quality, satisfaction, profitability, they're all linked.
Very tightly. Higher quality usually lets you charge more, and it can lower costs to fewer defects, returns, warranty claims.
The British Airways example was interesting. They cut costs, quality suffered, reputation tanked.
Yeah, for quite a few years. But then they reinvested in service quality, and apparently, since around 2012, they've won a ton of awards and turned things around.
Shows the long-term impact. And marketers have a role in quality.
A big one. Identifying needs, communicating them to designers, making sure orders are right, providing clear instructions, following up after the sale, gathering feedback for improvements.
They're involved all the way through.
Pretty much. Okay, so that leads us nicely into maximizing value, but this time value from the customer, because it's not just about getting customers.
It's about getting and keeping profitable ones.
Bingo! Which brings up the 80-20 rule.
Ah, yes, the classic. 80% of profits from 20% of customers.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's the general idea, but the text suggests it's often even more skewed. Like, the top 20% might generate more than 100% of profits.
Meaning the bottom chunk are actually losing you money.
It can happen, yeah. If the cost to serve them, support calls, handling returns, small orders outweighs the revenue they bring in. So companies focus on return on customer, ROC.
Trying to get the best value from the whole customer base.
Right. And interestingly, the biggest customers aren't always the most profitable. They negotiate hard, demand lots of service. Sometimes those mid-sized customers are the sweet spot.
So a profitable customer isn't just today's sale. It's about their whole lifetime with you.
That's the key concept. Customer lifetime value, CLV.
Okay.
It's the net present value. So, discounted back to today, of all the future profits you expect to get from that customer over their entire relationship with you.
Factoring in the cost to get them, sell to them, serve them.
All of it. And the CLV for a single loyal customer can be huge. Tens of thousands, even six figures in some industries.
That really changes how you should view each customer interaction. It's not just a transaction. It's part of a long-term asset.
Totally. And the math shows how much retention matters. Keeping a customer just a bit longer dramatically increases their CLV because profits compound over time.
Hurrah's Now Caesars is the big example here, right? Under Gary Loveman.
Classic case study. They built their whole strategy around CLV. Their total rewards program tracked everything for like 40 million members.
Wow.
Sophisticated data analysis to figure out who is valuable, what they liked, predict future behavior.
And they famously found it wasn't the Vegas high rollers, but the older local slot players who were often most profitable.
Exactly. That insight changed everything. They shifted marketing from mass ads to super targeted emails and direct mail based on predicted CLV.
Tied staff bonuses to service scores.
Monitored social media, used feedback to change things in hotels, even used the data to decide which other casino companies to buy, like Caesars, because their best customers were going there too.
It shows how deeply deeply CLV thinking can permeate a whole business.
It really does. It shifts the focus from just acquiring customers to keeping and growing the ones you have, which is crucial.
The leaking bucket problem. Losing customers constantly is inefficient.
Hugely inefficient. And the source notes that how you get a customer matters for CLV. People who come in on a deep discount might only be half as valuable long term.
Like those daily deal sites. Sometimes the coupon clippers never come back.
Can happen, whereas campaigns that reinforce the brand's value might attract customers who are inherently more loyal and valuable.
So reducing defection or churn is key. How do companies tackle that?
First, measure it. Then figure out why people are leaving. Some reasons you can fix bad service, product issues. Others you maybe can't. They moved away. Their needs changed.
Distinguish the controllable from the uncontrollable.
Right. Then you weigh the cost of the fix against the value of keeping that customer, their CLV. If fixing it costs less than losing them, you do it.
The marketing funnel idea comes back here too. It's much cheaper to keep someone who's already loyal than to attract someone new.
Massively cheaper. The stats are pretty stark. Acquiring a new customer costs maybe 5 times more than keeping one. Cutting defection by just 5% can boost profits 85%.
Huge leverage.
And profits from a loyal customer tend to grow over time. Think about brands with long-term fans like Honda or maybe Whole Foods. That customer relationship capital is incredibly valuable.
So what are the main strategies for managing the customer base to improve its value?
The text lists a few key ones. First, obviously, reduce the rate of defection. Address the reasons people leave, like Whole Foods focusing on great staff.
Okay.
Second, increase the longevity of the relationship. Build things that make people stick around, like Honda's reputation for reliability. Seeking customer advice also helps.
It makes them feel involved.
Third, enhance the growth potential. Get a bigger share of wallet. Cross-sell, upsell. Harley-Davidson is great at this, selling apparel, parts, experiences, not just bikes.
So you have to be careful that the cross-selling is actually profitable, right?
Good point. Sometimes the extra things cost more to support. Fourth strategy. Make low-profit customers more profitable, maybe by charging fees for extra services or
gently encourage them to leave?
sometimes, yes. Using screening like some insurance companies do to avoid high-risk, high-cost customers. Though sometimes free customers have network effects, so it's complex. Focus disproportionate effort on your high-profit customers. Give them special treatment, personalized attention, make them feel valued.
So beyond these big strategies, how do companies cultivate the actual relationships?
Precision marketing using data helps, but the internet also empowers customers, right? You can compare prices instantly, read reviews on Yelp or BizRate.
Power shifts both ways.
Exactly, which leads to customer relationship management, CRM.
Okay, CRM, what is that exactly?
It's basically the whole process of managing detailed information about individual customers and managing all their touch points with the company.
Touch points, that's any interaction.
Any encounter. Seeing an ad, visiting the website, calling support, using the product, getting an email, checking into a hotel.
Like all the steps with a hotel stay, booking, arriving, the room, maybe room service, checkout.
All of those are touch points, and CRM systems try to capture info from these interactions to build a better picture of you and personalize future interactions to maximize loyalty. Four Seasons is mentioned as being good at this personal touch.
Technology helps, but the human touch still matters.
Definitely. Lots of people still prefer talking to a real person for complex issues, and empowered employees who can build bonds are crucial.
The British Airways Know Me program sounds intense. Centralizing all that frequent flyer data, giving staff iPads with customer photos and preferences.
Yeah, aiming for that restaurant-like recognition where they know you. It's powerful personalization, but it definitely bumped up against privacy concerns for some people.
A fine line to walk. And personalization extends to products too. Like BMW letting you customize your car.
Right. Moving towards more build-to-order with tons of options increases loyalty, and it's often more profitable too. Or those Coca-Cola Freestyle machines, ultimate drink customization.
This personalization trend ties into permission marketing.
Yeah, the idea you only market to people after they've given you explicit permission. Seth Godin's concept.
It's better than just interrupting people.
That's the argument. It should be anticipated, personal, and relevant. The text even suggests maybe participatory marketing is a better term now, where consumers and marketers kind of collaborate.
Right, like customers getting involved.
Yeah.
Doritos letting fans name a flavor, Converse running that film contest.
Exactly, harnessing customer creativity. But again, technology is a double-edged sword. It enables participation, but also ad blocking.
And let's be real, most people don't want to engage with brands all the time.
Totally. That IBM study is mentioned. Customers want tangible value for engaging. Discounts, useful info, not just warm, fuzzy feelings.
So companies use social media for insights, monitoring, research.
Finding new ideas. And customer reviews have become huge.
Because we trust other consumers more than ads.
Largely, yes. Recommendations from other people are really influential. That hotel study, half wouldn't book without reviews. TripAdvisor is the giant here.
Constantly adding features, fraud detection.
Integrating with Facebook. And retailers use reviews too, even in physical stores now.
Though you have to watch out for fake reviews, right? Like that CEO incident.
Yeah, quality control is an issue. Platforms use tech to try and spot fraud. And you have other models like Angie's List with paid members or Metacritic aggregating pro reviews.
Bloggers, too, they have influence.
Big time with their followers. Companies track key bloggers, send them samples. Amy's Kitchen used bloggers to build buzz for a new cereal before it even launched.
What surprised me was reading that negative reviews aren't always bad.
Sounds weird, right? But they can raise awareness for unknown brands. Often they have detailed info buyers find useful. That Amazon study found half of people found negative reviews helpful.
And maybe bought the product anyway, but with more realistic expectations.
Exactly. Might even lead to fewer returns. And those recommendation engines on Amazon and elsewhere, they drive a lot of sales.
10–30%. Wow. Though they can be annoying if they get it wrong.
Oh, yeah. Like recommending baby stuff years after your kid's grown.
Okay, last big area. Complaints. Most unhappy customers just leave.
Yeah, the stat is something like only 5% actually complain. The other 95% just walk away silently.
Which is dangerous for the company, because they don't know why.
Exactly. But here's the flip side. Handling complaints well is incredibly powerful. Resolve it. And 54–70% will buy from you again.
Resolve it quickly.
Jumps to 95%. It's a massive opportunity to turn a negative into a positive.
And the word-of-mouth effect. Happy complainers tell a few people, unhappy ones tell way more.
Like double. Bad news spreads faster. So companies need good complaint processes.
Make it easy to complain, respond fast, be empathetic, fix it.
Right. Use friendly staff. Accept responsibility. 3M apparently gets product ideas from complaints.
And monitor social media proactively now, too. Catch things early.
Yeah, like the JetBlue bike fee example. See the grumbling online, fix it before it blows up.
What about unjustified complaints? People trying it on.
Happens. Companies don't have to roll over. They can fight back against false claims like Taco Bell did defending its ingredients.
So, social media has risks. But the potential benefits, especially for building relationships and getting feedback, are huge.
Marketers generally feel the positives outweigh the negatives, and having a good corporate image helps navigate tricky situations.
So, wrapping this deep dive up, building long-term loyalty is way more than just having a decent product, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's this whole complex system. Understanding customer value, measuring satisfaction, focusing on lifetime value, not just transactions.
And actively cultivating relationships through personalization, communities, really listening to feedback, handling complaints well.
And you, the listener, you're right in the middle of all this. Your choices, your feedback, your experiences, that's the raw material companies are working with.
It makes you think, doesn't it? Knowing that companies are analyzing your potential lifetime value, maybe segmenting you based on profitability, tailoring their efforts, how does that change how you feel about the brands you interact with?
And maybe even what information you're willing to share with them, something to ponder.